The secret harmony of fluid flow. Why some forces never mix. Imagine a volume of space, like a water tank, filled with two distinct types of movement. One movement behaves like a fountain, pushing fluid outward or pulling it inward from specific points, a push-pull flow. The other movement is like a whirlpool, swirling in loops but never actually expanding or contracting, a swirling flow. There is a remarkable principle in physics that occurs when the swirling flow is perfectly contained, meaning it slides along the walls of the tank but never actually crosses through them. Under this specific condition, these two types of motion become energy orthogonal. This means that even though they are happening in the same space at the same time, they do not interfere with or talk to each other. The core principle: independent energies. When the swirling flow respects the boundaries of the container, the total kinetic energy of the fluid is simply the sum of the energy from the push-pull motion and the energy from the swirling motion. There is no crosstalk or interference energy between them. This is the foundation of the Helmholtz decomposition theorem, which suggests that any complex fluid movement can be uniquely separated into these two simpler, independent building blocks, one associated with sources and sinks, and the other with vortices. Visualizing the harmony. Demo 1. In a computer simulation of this principle, you might see blue arrows representing the expansion and contraction of the push-pull flow and red arrows showing the swirls of the vortex flow. When these are combined into a complex purple flow, the total energy displayed on the screen is almost exactly the sum of the two individual parts. The mathematical interaction between them, the cross term, stays essentially at zero, proving they are independent. Breaking the silence. Boundary leakage. Demo 2. The magic disappears if the swirling flow is forced across the boundary of the container, a phenomenon called boundary leakage. If the fluid flows into or out of the walls, the push-pull and swirling components begin to communicate through that boundary. In this scenario, energy coupling, the total energy is no longer just the sum of the parts. An interaction energy appears because the two types of motion are now coupled. Physical realities. This happens in real-world scenarios like open pipes, where fluid enters and exits, or antennas, where energy leaks out into space rather than being contained. Ultimately, these demonstrations prove that the independence of different flow types isn't just a property of the fluid itself, but a direct result of how the fluid interacts with its boundaries. When the boundaries are respected, the different forces of nature can coexist in a state of perfect, uncoupled harmony.